I'm Ballerimus with Caspian Division. I am going to play the Worcester, I guess you want to call it, her. That's how she, I guess, is pronounced. Anyway, this is a kind of a light cruiser class, tier 10, U.S. Navy. She was built, if you will, a little bit of history on her. She was built in 1948. That was when she was actually, she was ordered during the latter stages of World War II. Unfortunately, because of the constructions and others of more vital ships at the time, she was delayed, I guess, or whatever. They just didn't have time. They didn't get her down in time. Well, anyway, she was finally completed and entered service in 1948. This ship, unfortunately, has some really odd weaponry. Surprisingly, she only has 6-inch guns on her. These 6-inch guns are the main guns here. We'll look at those real quick. As you notice, they kind of have a high elevation range on them. If you can see where the actual traverse of the guns kind of go up like that, where my mouse is pointed. The other issue is with these weapons, get a little bit closer look to it, is that they are kind of limited with the ranges, and there is a I would have to say I have to dispute that she does not have secondaries on her. I have to say that these guns, these are of course 2x162 weapons. These are AA guns in the rear of the ship. These are the other 3-inch guns along the side of the ship. There are several of them. These weapons were used as secondary batteries, surface batteries, by other ships around the world. The U.S. Navy was no exception. I don't know why they say they are not suitable for secondaries. You could depress those guns quite easily. Having been in the U.S. Navy myself and having operated such weaponry for fun and learning how to operate it, I can attest that they do have the ability to track surface targets rather easily. You'll see this little director right here where my mouse is. That's for those weapons right there. They can be used to track surface targets and also air targets. I do not know why WG decided to say that they are not surface ability capable. That's another one of the directors that can be used to direct the guns. Of course, you have secondaries, AA guns. We'll look at some of those. Those are the AA guns right here. That's the big guns. Of course, we go down to 20 millimeters. Those are some of the twin 20s. And there's, again, some of the bigger, smaller 3-inch guns. That was her ability for firepower. Survivability, even though it's a 63, she has 45,400 hit points. Her torpedo protection is really, really poor. She only has 21% torpedo protection. Not really all that great, anyway, for a light cruiser. The other issue is with her lack, of course, of any aircraft. Both 1948, they were phasing out fixed-wing aircraft to be launched from cruisers, and ironically, I do not know why, but she should have had. They should have put a spotter plane on her or a fighter aircraft, one of the two. You should be able to select that. I would go for a spotter aircraft, mainly because that would boost her radar ranges. For her, not only for her defensive but offensive capabilities. The 6-inch guns are mediocre, I guess. Not all that great penetration. Having taken her out before, both in regular random battle and clan battle, I can tell you she's a bullet magnet in any battle you end up in. Before anyone who views the video complains, well, why didn't you watch some of the other people who stream all the time, so on and so forth? Not interested. I'm doing this for fun. This is my personal take. Again, I am a Navy veteran. I've dealt with some of these various weapons, so I'm quite familiar with their capabilities and what they can and can't do. And I can tell you that these guns, especially these right here, what I'm pointing at, can be used and be pressed against surface targets. They have that ability. I don't know why they didn't put it on a Worcester, but they did not. And if the specifications said, oh, we didn't have secondaries, Wargaming got this wrong badly. Go to some of the other settings. I'm using consumables, the premium consumables in all my things. If I'll notice, it'll show you that the damage control consumable that's the only thing you can have in that position. Defensive fire, same thing, either regular or premium. Radar, regular or premium. Repair party, premium or regular, and or the hydroscopic search, hydrostatic search system, regular or premium. And of course, no airplanes. Let's take a look at some of the things I put on there for giggles. I always go with main armor mod 1, mainly because if you look in the corner there, you can see the green, which gives you a good idea of the percentages. Here's where a lot of people, I think, may go wrong. Now, I could put defensive fire AA1 on her. I do have the module for that, and I have acoustic search. Basically, what those two modules do is extend the length of time that you're using those abilities. I prefer to go ahead and use damage control for a reason, because you're going to be using damage control a hell of a lot more than you are using the other modules, because you're going to need that. There's been, I think, some discussions of people discussing about should I use aiming systems or should I use one of the others. Now, here's the problem. If you put the AA mod 2, yeah, that gives you 100% modifications. But there's also another problem. If you go into battery modification 2, which is making the turrets turn faster, the turrets do turn fairly fast, but not as fast as the Minotaur. The Minotaur, which is a British ship, her turrets turn like grease lightning. They could have learned a few lessons from the British about how to make turrets turn fast on Navy cruisers. Unfortunately, they did not. The other downside, of course, like with this cruiser, unlike Minotaur, she has no torpedoes. Though, really bad. So you're stuck without having torpedoes. Now there's an option here. Target Acquisition System Mod 1, Concealment Mod 1, or Steering Gears. I will be telling you right now that you need to treat this ship as though if she is a destroyer. Ignore the steering gear. I'll be frank. This ship is so fragile, horrifyingly fragile, that you want to have that target acquisition 1 to see stuff coming at you. To be honest, straight up. The other issue is the Gunfire Mod 2. You got issue again. If you put the Mod 3 aircraft, you're going to lose ability on your artillery. You go down 1%. While your AA guns increase 25%, and of course increase to 100% modification for the AA, you are not going to get very few. I'll be honest with you. You have a lower percentage of finding aircraft carriers in the game. Very few times, and especially if you plan on fighting this ship in the clan battles. Of course, in clan battles you have no aircraft carriers. So yeah, that does not make a lot of sense to use the modifications. So, and also main battery mod 3. There's an issue. Your traverse speed goes minus 13%, but your battery loading time is minus 12%. It's green. Your traverse speed is affected, so she becomes rather slower, while the battery loading time decreases. Now, depending on your play style, you may find that suitable. Others may not. I find it that it's more suitable to have Fire Control System Mod 2 on her. I use the camouflages with her. As you notice, she has her own cami. I am flying one of the Twitch flags there. I have the Twitch streamer flag there, the Twitch flag I fly, along with the other flag, the US flag, and of course the special flag that I fly always, or the military contributor flag that I fly gives me a percentage. I got that about 2 years ago when they did a special program in wargaming for military veterans. Now I'm going to put on some of my flags. In this ship, mandatory, I think you want to put your Juliet Charlie, no danger of explosion. Frankly, you need it. I'm hesitant to use the India X-ray and even the Liquidator. Because, why? Because she's fragile enough. If basically I'm canceling out, if I use either or of those flags, I lose basically that detonation flag. Also, she is kind of slow, so I do increase and I do recommend using the speed flag, and I do go ahead put the recommendation of loading consumables on her, of consumable flags. For giggles, if you do happen to encounter, go ahead and put your AA flag on her. The use of the secondary firing range flag right now, until they fix this, and I think this is a serious issue that wargaming needs to address with this particular ship. She has secondary batteries that can be used, while as anti-aircraft guns, they are primarily and were designed originally as surface weapons. That means they were designed to go after surface targets that the other guns could not target, because the firing rate on the primary sixes, and we're going to go back to look at one of those, are higher than the guns which are here, than these two guns. They are actually higher fire rates than this mount, the 50 Mark 33. They will actually fire faster than those two guns, than those two weapons. I know for personal experience, just firing those weapons, you are limited to how fast you can load those surface or those anti-aircraft guns by hand. And then those are manually loaded. They are not auto loaders. Okay, the main 6-inch guns are auto loaders. I'm gonna throw in a couple of extra flags. I got a 14-point captain on her. I'll show you what I've set him up for. Because the ship, one other thing the ship does not have is smoke. The Minotaur does. However, the Minotaur, you can only use smoke or radar. Again, this is a big thing that frustrates me with wargaming, that virtually every ship in the world, warship, had the ability to spread smoke regardless of what it was equipped with. And so in reality, even if she had radar, she could still use radar, she could still use smoke. In reality, they're not playing with the full deck, unfortunately. She should be able to have smoke, the ability to spread smoke, but by then, the end of World War II, radar was being the prevalent method of detection, and smoke became passé, if you will. Now, I'm trying to get to a little bit better look at her here a little bit, trying to get to the stern. I can, I'll have to back away from her and go around that way, I guess. But on some of the ships, you can actually see, on this one, there's no smoke distribution unit. There's no smoke canisters on her. She is basically pretty empty, if you will. Let me go to port. There we go, back to the port view, get a better view of her. Most ships, if you look at them, the older ships, you can find some smoke canister distribution units, and we're going to close in on her stern thanks to a Naslin mod I have that I'm using. Of course, there's no evidence of a smoke generator on the stern of the ship, so she would not have had smoke in any case. But again, she should have had at least a plane or two on her, and it's clearly that she did have it. There's the hangar for the seaplane, and there's the, of course, the catapults for them. And of course, they don't have them on the ship. I don't know what plane type they could use on her. Maybe a Corsair, which was a fighter, or one of the other type aircraft. All right, we're going to get into the battle. Again, this ship, I only played it a couple times. I'm not a, I play it for fun. I don't sit here and tell you, okay, you need to equip it exactly this way, or play it this way. I recommend find your play style with each class of ship, each type of ship. That's important, because you cannot, in reality, follow the, cookie cutter variant, if you will. I'll play it like such and such streamer. I'll play this ship like this such and such streamer. This streamer told me to, okay, fit it out like this exactly, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. I don't like to do that. Frankly, that's just, you got your own play style, you experiment, find what works for you, what does not work for you may work for you, while the other person may not like the play style that you're doing, and may play it entirely differently. Just a little bit of a detail work on the ship. If you notice here, we're going to go back here and look at these two barrels sitting up on the side of the superstructure. Those are actually replacement barrels for these weapons right here. That weapon there, those, if you look at the replacement barrels, they would burn at they could get pretty hot during a firing cycle. These weapons did fire. It depended on the human crew operating and loading those weapons. They could conceivably get very, very hot. I've seen the barrels. You've watched some of the old War II movies, documentaries that show these guns in action, and you'll see some of them weapons getting hot, super hot, and dangerously hot, that the barrels could deform. Therefore, they would have to replace them on the fly. That's why you see in this ship detail, for example, there's two of the barrels there replacing it. You may be curious about this weapon right here. That's actually not a weapon. That's a salute gun. One on each side. We would render honors to a foreign port, that we were entering. Even every U.S. Navy ship, big or small, carrier, destroyer, cruiser, even the battleships of the day, and even if you go aboard one of the big battleships that are still on display, Missouri, New Jersey, Wisconsin, so forth, Iowa, they have their little salute guns somewhere on their ship. So you can find them, they're there. And any of the ships that are on display in some of the historical areas, such as Massachusetts, Alabama, North Carolina, they all have those little salute guns somewhere on their ship. Now we're going to go take off here to play battle, random battle. This is, again, a Tier 10 ship, so I don't know how long she will last in Tier 10 battle, since she is a very weak-sided cruiser. Again, the playing style I have to use and will have to use is that I'm treating her as a destroyer because of her fragility, and that fragility comes into play pretty quickly. If you put yourself into the wrong position, you're going to get punched out pretty quick. Again, all the stuff I'm showing you is my stuff that I have so far found to be okay to try. I discovered that I had to set her up with the destroyer ability to still operate with the crippled engine and rudder after getting my engine shot up, actually, in a battle. And that was kind of embarrassing to have happen, because I was dead in the water and not going anywhere, and I was smoking like a locomotive because I was dead in the water. We're playing the Sleeping Giant map. kind of a fun map. The Pagoda Tower, if you will, is in there. You'll find it over in A, which is over here. And we're going to go kind of, because again, I don't have no smoke on this ship, so I'm vulnerable to being seen. I'll give you an idea of how fast these turrets rotate when I have the ship out. I'm going to go ahead and set it up so you can see it. You can see how fast they turn. Unfortunately, they're kind of slow. They're slower turn rate than, say, the Minotaur of similar size. Of course, unfortunately, Minotaur has torps. This one does not. The Minotaur can use smoke or radar. It depends on your flavor of play. This one only has radar, hydro, and anti-aircraft abilities. There's no aircraft carriers in this mission, so I won't be able to demonstrate that. We have 3 destroyers. I'm going to stay with AG for the moment, since she will be having to use those weapons against them. I have not yet configured her to use the secondary abilities. I'm going to have to build the captain up. I may explore that in a later option when I get enough points in the captain. I may actually configure him into points temporarily to see if actually I can force the ship's anti-aircraft guns to turn into secondaries. As a personal, in the Navy veteran sense, I experienced with weapons with these types in my years of service and having fired these weapons. The secondary batteries capabilities of these weapons, of these smaller weapons that we showed you earlier, should allow them, and did allow them, to engage surface targets. But unfortunately on Worcester, according to Wargaming, she cannot engage surface targets with her weapons. She has a 19.4 target range. I'm going to try to get my ass away here. I'm not going to show my broadside too much. There is the Massachusetts. You can see the firing range. Firing on her. Firing kind of blindly on her. There's another Worcester out there. Switch over to, and she has a fast switch over. Enemy destroyer detected. About a 3-second or faster, and I'm probably going to need to turn my radar on here, which I am. Both. There's hydro. Pretty sure there's some torpedoes coming. Ouch! Yeah, I got hit by the Zeo. Again, light cruiser, not really that all strong.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Outside the range over here. And I got torpedoes coming on. Slow my ass down here. One of the things I learned, and with any real life, is to slow down, let the torpedoes pass you, don't try to stay with them. If you got to turn suddenly, like, oh, wait a minute, where did that island come from? That kind of thing can be embarrassing. I did not hit anything because, again, I'm still trying to get the feel for these weapons. I know there's some destroyers sitting over there if I can get to them. This gun's very slow. Enemy battleship detected. Turn away from me. And there's the just trying to get the feel for this ship. It's a Zao, out of my range, but coming into my range for the moment. I want to try to stay angled. Another ship now out of my range. This is almost like an overpowered Atlanta, but not that great of a ship. I'm thinking in terms of play style, the ship plays almost like an Atlanta, which Atlanta only has an 11-kilometer fire range, whereas this one's got about 21-kilometer range on her. Again, I'm playing this ship as I feel it. I'm still trying to get a feel for her, trying to get an idea of how she's shooting, and I'm not really pleased with those HE round speeds off of her, coming out of her barrels. And even at that range, it takes almost 12 points. See, if I go at 12 flight time of 12 seconds for the main rounds, 6-inch rounds to come off this ship out to her position, out to the position I'm targeting.
Enemy battleship detected.
I'm frankly leaning toward that this ship should be a specialty AA ship. If you're playing, say you have a teammate playing a carrier build, and that this ship would be an anti-aircraft build, probably of the best type. We lost to Shikazi again, as usual. We're losing a lot of ships. I've got Warships sitting out there, head to water. Range on them.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Torpedo warning is running.
Enemy battleship detected.
I am firing HE, trying to
Enemy cruiser sighted.
give him a HE bath.
Enemy battleship detected.
Biggest problem we have.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Rounds are falling short. I can't get it. Oh well, such is life. Shit happens. There is the Chapney. Switch over to AP. And I just got pinned. Yay. Torpedoes, everybody shooting at me now. Idea of how she handles my firing rate is high. Worcester over there somewhere. There he is. There's your motto. I can hit him with some nice HE if I can. Let's see, get him lined up right. Disappear on me. There he is. It's out of my range, unfortunately.
Enemy destroyer detected.
About to win.
Enemy battleship sighted.
It'd be nice to have torps on this ship. As far as I can tell, with torps. Of course, the 6-inch guns are better than any damage to Massachusetts. Takes a 1 minute to hit. And I'm dead. Got the HE. Maybe fire right there. Think about. Get a better feel for how the ship shoots. What her draw range is. It's going to have to be a lead time, considerable lead on her. Like a fire hose in the air.
Enemy cruiser detected. Enemy destroyer sighted.
Game, but we lost. But at least I got an idea, and you get an idea of what she does. Tried to keep my sides from being shown too much. Pronounced Worcester, whatever. Daily game, you know, all the little different rewards you can get. Didn't do much damage with her. You know, I'm trying to feel her out, trying to get a idea of her abilities. It's just going to take some time. But I'm playing her mainly as a destroyer without torpedoes, unfortunately. This is not a ship that is very easily considered, I think, playable. Cruiser, I mean, she can hit you, but she can hurt once you get the feel for the weapons, with the guns, how they shoot. It's just in itself a difficult proposition for anyone to play with, and you just got to get a feel for it. And of course, you can listen to all the other people who've played the ship with different styles, but again, recommending is just play with your own style, how you feel like, what you want to play the ship with, how you want to fit her out, how you want the captain configured, so on and so forth. It's worthwhile. But I have to give her a C-, or C, I guess C grade for being a real cruiser. And to be honest, I mean, what do you expect for a light cruiser anyway? That's what she is, and that's what you're going to get when you get into her. And enjoy the play with the Worcester.